The movie I saw is Didi, by a first-time director named Sean Wang. This was a big hit at the Sundance Film Festival earlier this year, and it is a semi-autobiographical film about a kid named Didi, although he also goes by a couple different names. His actual name is Wang, and he also goes by Sean. And in the movie, he's 13 years old, and he's growing up in California, and the year is 2008, so he's checking out his MySpace a lot, and he's signing up for Facebook. And as a Taiwanese American kid, his mom is played by Joan Chen, and he also lives with his grandma and his older sister, who's about to go to college. His grandma's name is Nai Nai. And if you know the name Sean Wang got an Oscar nomination a couple years ago for a short documentary with the name Nai Nai and Wai Po, which was, I believe, about his grandmother. So there's some, again, autobiographical overlap. Didi is about, I guess we'll call him Didi just to make it simple. Didi is about his transition from middle school into high school, and it kind of covers the summer between. And in the long tradition of movies like Eighth Grade and mid-90s and Lady Bird, it is very much a movie about awkward teenage angst. And Didi experiences a lot of it in this movie. Like mid-90s, he aspires to be a skateboarder, although he kind of takes on the role in the movie of being the filmer of the skateboarders, maybe like fuck shit in mid-90s. I don't know. I can't remember. But there's definitely that element of the movie there. I guess like Lady Bird, he is someone who kind of changes his identity at times. Again, he kind of uses different names. At times he says that he's half white when he is not. And he says he lives in different parts of the town and all that, and that he's more knowledgeable in some areas. And then I guess like Better Luck Tomorrow, this is a movie about predominantly an Asian American community in California. But they're not really stereotyped. I mean, this is a kid who, he's, you might think, oh, Asian kid, he's a great student and he's going to be a computer whiz, but he's not. And I think the movie kind of seeks to remedy that stereotype about younger Asian characters. This is a really fun movie. I enjoyed it. I mean, like I said, it's in that tradition of coming of age movies. It's kind of, for me, it's going to be hard to have a movie like that and to not find enjoyment in it. The young actor who plays Didi, his name is Isaac Wang, and he's, I think, really great in this movie. He doesn't talk a lot, and I can't necessarily always say that he has the most charisma, but he has a lot of realistic, sort of rapport with the other actors, and his instincts are, I think, very natural, and I can absolutely believe him in that role. Joan Chen is his mother, is, I think, really great. They have some very heartfelt scenes in the movie. And the movie does make great use of MySpace and Facebook and that era of early social networking. There's several scenes in the movie that are just the screen where Didi is kind of trying to make a profile and checking out the girl that he likes and movies that she's into. There's a very funny exchange about the movie, A Walk to Remember. It's clear that Sean Wang has a lot of fondness for this time period. And to the degree to which the film is autobiographical, I'm not quite sure, but he's an exciting filmmaker. Kind of a side note, I use this film in my classes this week to show teenagers, how it's cool to make movies about your own awkward experiences as teenagers. And this movie will certainly remind you of some things that maybe you don't want to be reminded of as you're watching it, maybe in a similar way to the way Eighth Grade did it. I said because the movie was so impactful that I would bump it a half star just because I think it's a cool way to introduce teenagers to cool movies that aren't freaking Marvel movies. So I'm giving this movie 3.5 stars. It's probably otherwise like a high 3-star movie, but again, there's a lot of truth in the movie. There's a lot of gentle humor in it. The movie does go to some surprisingly dark places at times. There's definitely like a 400 Blows vibe at times where we think that this kid is maybe just going to run away from home and be street urchin or something like that. But again, the movie is very heartful and soulful, like Maya is. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's a very fun movie. Sean Wang is a director to look for. I don't know if it's going to be like an Oscar type movie, but it's definitely an art house movie to check out. And especially if you like mid-90s and Lady Bird. It's basically mid-90s meets Lady Bird meets Better Luck Tomorrow. And it does all those things, notably well. So I enjoyed Didi. Fun movie.
Yeah, when I was watching the trailer for Didi, what you said, like Eighth Grade meets mid-90s, is kind of the vibe you get. And so to say that that's actually what it produces, it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those movies where, like, okay, I've seen all those movies. I've loved coming of age movies. I've seen every coming of age movie. So for me, maybe it's not quite as fresh as it would be to someone who is 14 years old and watching, has not seen any of those movies. And it's not to say that the movie is derivative, but you know, there's only so many great milestones that you have when you're 14 years old. I do think something that separates this movie is very much about the Taiwanese identity in the movie, which is really interesting. Joan Chen and the grandmother in the movie really only speak Taiwanese, I think is the language they're using. And you know, there's an element to that that I think is kind of unique and refreshing. But it's just a fun movie, and anybody who was ever a teenager will identify with it. So it makes it, again, universally appealing. And I think the young actor is really good in it too. So I enjoyed it, and I would especially recommend it to teenagers, even though it's R-rated for absolutely bullshit reasons. It's a perfectly fine movie for anybody who is 13 years old and going through what that character goes through.